All right. We are live. Everyone, as you're just tuning in, welcome to another live episode of the Managing Partners Podcast. I have a special guest today from New York City, Natalia Morozova. Welcome so much. Thanks so much for coming and joining me today.
Hi, Kevin. Thank you for having me.
Yes, of course. So we'll just want to jump right into this and tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about your story, which I know a little bit about, and how you started your firm.
Oh boy. Um, our firm, we do exclusively immigration, all types of different types of immigration firm. Our story is actually pretty cool. The firm was started in 1964 by Mr. Cohen, and through the years, obviously, I wasn't the founding partner. Hopefully, that's clear. I took over the firm in 2019 when the Mr. Cohen and Mr. Tucker were ready to retire. So it kind of just brought in some new blood, new ideas, new stuff into the firm, but we stayed 100% exclusively immigration.
Excellent. Well, give me a little bit about your background because you yourself had to go through that process and immigrate into the country. If I read correctly.
I did. So, if you could tell by my accent a little bit, I am an immigrant. I was a kid when I came here, but my family did go through the whole immigration process. I don't know how much it influenced me in going into immigration. It wasn't specifically my intention to do so. I kind of just fell into it, but I come to love it. It is one of the most diverse, the most dynamic areas of law. Sometimes things come out twice a week, so there's always something new happening. You get to meet a lot of different people. So I really, really enjoy it.
Well, so speaking of the people you work with, the clients you work with, what would you say are some of the challenges that they are faced with when you begin to have those first conversations with them?
Oh boy. So that's actually a very interesting question. So we do both business immigration, which is when people want to invest and have a visa to come and stay here in the U.S., or when big corporations hire lots of people and they need kind of outside talent. So the challenges with those clients are very different from people who are here on what's called a family immigration, when they're trying to get their status in order based on having a relative here. Um, so the challenges that they face are very, very different. Obviously, when we deal with business immigration, it's all numbers and business plans and big meetings and let's jump on a Zoom call at 9 p.m. But when we deal with people who are coming here to be with their families or people who are applying for asylum, it is very different dynamic because there's a lot of trauma involved. So there's a lot of intimate personal conversations when people want to see you face to face. So we have been very good at being able to kind of switch back and forth between the two.
Excellent. Okay. Well, that's I guess I could understand the difference with that. And actually, uh, my wife's actually in recruiting and deals with kind of the employment side and the larger contracts, companies trying to hire employees from other countries if they're so I could see that being completely different than my family's here and I can't come here and I'm dealing with this situation.
So your wife would be one of the people we would be dealing with who are not necessarily immigrants themselves, would deal with a lot of hiring managers and a lot of
Okay.
accountants and like financial documents when it goes with the business immigration. A lot of it has to do with like highly specific financial stuff, but then we switch over to the family asylum stuff, and it's mostly we deal with a lot of psychological evaluations and doctors to get medical reports and stuff like that. So you get to be a part of two very different worlds.
Okay. Well, I guess the next question may have two different situations as well. But okay, so you get someone that comes to you. What are some of the, I guess, common mistakes maybe the business or the family or the person trying to immigrate? What are some of the mistakes they may make along the way, maybe before they talk to you, or what are the things that they may do that may not be helpful to you all?
Yeah, there's actually two different answers. So when it comes to family immigration or like asylum seekers, people who are more individual immigration, their biggest mistake is that the first person they talk to is not going to be an attorney. It's going to be one of those like immigration services. For anybody who's ever been to like a big city, Los Angeles, New York. In New York City, there's a lot of these little storefronts that will say like, we'll process your visas, we'll do immigration services. So the biggest problem is when they go to people who are not actual attorneys or who are attorneys who don't have a lot of experience, don't have a lot of reviews. And the biggest problem that we see is being able to fix mistakes that were made before the person came to us. So that is like the biggest issue, right?
Gotcha.
When it comes to business, the clientele is a lot more sophisticated in terms of dealing with lawyers, right? So if it's a big corporation, chances are they have an in-counsel or an off-counsel. They're a lot more prepped. There's a lot more meetings before they even decide to go with us. So we see a lot fewer mistakes. The only mistake, of course, we see if when it's a big corporation and they kind of try to have their in-counsel do the work that should really be outsourced to somebody who does this day to day. A lot of nuances.
Gotcha. So they might have someone in counsel, but they're not maybe familiar with immigration law.
Exactly. Yeah. There's somebody who read the dummy guide or go to and they try to do it themselves. But once the information is in, sometimes it's kind of hard to go back and fix it,
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So it might be hard to undo what they did.
Yeah. We do a lot of fixing here.
And we do that too.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, both great answers, and I assume there would be two different answers to that question as well. And all these might have two different answers based on how you guys operate. But okay, next question. How do you go about getting new clients? So I assume different for business versus individuals. But what do you guys do to get in front of your potential, the person looking in search? And I guess, again, maybe two different answers for business versus individuals, but what do you guys do?
I'm going to surprise you. It's actually pretty much the same answer
Okay.
for both. Okay. So, of course, we have an advantage because the firm is so old. Like our phone number has existed since the late 70s. So it's been around for a very, very long time. So, of course, there's a lot of repeat business. There's word of mouth. There are satisfied customers who then go and tell, their friends and their family, or, sometimes people at parties, sometimes their accountants. In terms of getting new clients, we do have online presence. I discovered that, especially during COVID, that was extremely important. We put a lot of effort into our website. We're constantly adding content to that. And we're actually working on a new project. We're going to launch a YouTube channel. So
wow, that's excellent.
Thanks. Excited. I'm not used to this much exposure, but I guess what I did is I started doing a micro step. I started doing a weekly on Thursdays. I just go in front of a camera on Facebook Live and I talk about immigration updates. I talk. At first, I was talking to the audience of like one person, right? And then week after week, slowly, our clients started catching on. And I'll go and I'll just talk for 20, 30 minutes about a topic that's on my heart. And then we're trying to take that and then launch an actual YouTube channel.
That's
I hear
excellent.
lots of people on YouTube.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's good to hear that you guys well, you put effort into online presence, websites. I mean, that's what I look at. That's what I look for. That's what we help our clients with. But that you guys are investing in that, and the YouTube channel sounds excellent. Going live, we're live right now, so everyone watching. And then this will be on a YouTube channel here soon once we get it edited. So I love hearing that. So that's good stuff. Congrats on making those moves. And yeah, you just got to get out of your comfort zone a little bit and get out there and talk to people, and your audience will start to grow. So you'll start to attract more people. Love it.
Hopefully so. Yes. Definitely outside of our comfort zone.
And so the other question I had was kind of like, is there a marketing strategy that's worked particularly well for you over the years? You kind of hinted towards, some of it's your word of mouth, and the brand's been around for a while. So, has there been any other kind of marketing efforts you've done that have produced results, whether it be traditional or digital?
We're still exploring things. A lot of older attorneys, I know they love to go on newspaper or on TV, more conventional stuff. But I really believe that the future is online. Everybody I know, whether a person speaks English or doesn't, whether they've been here for 5 days of 20 years, they all have some sort of online presence, right? They all can do something. And I walk around New York City and all I see is people looking down on their phones. And to me, it's like, well, this is the best marketing strategy. I got to get in there. So we definitely are exploring different options. We do some work with Google Ads. I don't necessarily find them to be the best, definitely putting a lot of content out there. That's what has been working for us. Whenever something new, and with immigration, sometimes the news come out on a Saturday, and they come out on a Saturday, and we try to post it everywhere right away. And then when we get into the office on Monday, we try to do a mass email saying like, hey, read this, call us if you have any questions. This so far has been the best, what we see working, of course,
Yeah, that's great. Getting that content out there quickly. And there's a million ways to get content out there, but you're generating the content. And I think that and repurposing the content in other areas. So whether you post it on LinkedIn or Facebook or your website, YouTube, email, newsletter, that's a great way to get it out to your existing clients. So, I mean, it sounds like you guys are really doing or trying a lot of the right things. It's just, I think for every business, it's kind of figuring out what works best for you, and it can be different for your geographic location. I assume you gotta tiptoe into it for sure. You guys serve the state of New York primarily, or you practice in other states?
Well, actually, immigration is a federal practice, so we can practice anywhere. Plus, we do a lot of international work where people are located in completely different countries. That especially is for business immigration, investment visas and stuff. There are definitely people I've brought to United States who I've never even met in person. There are corporations that we work with who are, all we do is we do video chat, and they're in completely different part of the world. When it comes to family immigration, that's more centralized to New York and New Jersey because the two states are so close together. Funny thing is, for someone to get to my office from Jersey City, it's actually a lot faster than for someone to get to my office from Long Island. So we do a lot of New York, New Jersey, pretty much almost half and half.
Oh, wow. Okay. Excellent. So for the business side of things, it really, it doesn't matter where they are. So.
Either way, it doesn't matter where we are. It just, for localized clients who have to go to a court or have to go to immigration services, for them to pay for me to travel to Ohio, Cincinnati. We do have some very dedicated clients, but sometimes to them, it just doesn't make sense, But for business, definitely, we have corporations all over the United States, all over the world. And it makes no difference where they are.
Well, I'm here learning stuff. That's one of the reasons I do this. So I appreciate that. So it's not something I knew actually. If you practice in an individual state or if it was federal. So I'm learning something every
I
day.
can talk about immigration all day, all day.
All right. Well, I don't have any hard stops. So I mean, you kind of alluded towards this a little bit, but your future marketing strategies. It sounds like you guys are. You're going live. You're doing more content. You're focused more on digital, which I'm happy to hear that. And a lot of the older firms, more traditional firms, TV, billboards, and newspapers, things like that. And you're completely right. I mean, if we look at all the data analytics and things like that, I would say 60 to 70% of your website traffic is going to be on a mobile phone. So you got to get in front of them where they are, which could be social media, Facebook, or other news websites, things like that. But that's really the best way to get in front of these folks is through digital means, and you can track it, and you can track your ROI, return on investment, as well.
I actually learned it the hard way because our first efforts at creating a website, the I guess web developer didn't pay so much attention to the phone version of the website, and it actually created some problems. But now just seeing on how many people look at the website on an actual desktop versus a phone, you also kind of create strategies that you put forward more effort onto creating something user-friendly on a phone other than a website, because the discrepancy is very large. Like, I think over 70% from what the traffic that we're seeing and the calls that we're seeing. Like, you can click to call on our website, but we get almost no click to calls on the website through a desktop. Almost like over 80% of them are coming from the phone. And especially in New York City, a lot of people, New York City, New Jersey, the metropolitan areas, a lot of people do a lot of long commutes, like an hour, for example. During that hour, they're on a phone, they're researching, they're sending us emails. Hey, can I get a consultation? All these inquiries are coming at certain times, and we're seeing that it's around lunch hours, and it's around like commutes home after the day's over.
Yeah, you're absolutely correct. And that's exactly how I would operate, personally, if I'm looking for a lawyer or a service, say it could be a home type service or whatever. You have that time dedicated, which you might not have in the office or if you work full time. So those, lunch breaks, commuting, and you're going to be on your phone. And then when they come to your website or anything that you have online, if they can't call you quickly and easily, or the website doesn't load properly, then you're going to have less likely a chance to get in front of that customer. So, yeah. Well, seems like you got all that stuff figured out, though. That's good.
No, still figuring it. Still a very, very long way to go. I feel like I just started. I always look around and I feel like I'm joining a party sometimes when everybody's already cleaning up, But it's very interesting and it's exciting. And when I became a lawyer, I didn't know that a lot of it is going to be centering. So much of it is going to be centering on digital stuff. I have to confess, personally, I don't have any social media. I don't use it for my personal use, but it is indispensable for a business. I don't think, especially after the year that we've had, I don't think any business can survive without a very good, concrete, flexible, I think that's very important, flexible online presence. I don't think it's possible nowadays.
Yeah, to that point, it's almost like, not having a business card. If I met you right now at a live event, networking, and you didn't have a card, then I'd be like, all right, well, I won't be able to get a hold of you. So it's imperative that you have social media. It's up to date, and I like you to use the word flexible because Before Instagram, we had Facebook, and then Instagram popped up. And then, it took a little while before businesses got over to that platform. Now they're all on it. Now you have TikTok, you obviously have LinkedIn and Twitter. So I think, for anyone listening, you really gotta figure out which platforms for you, which one's going to work best for your business, and then have a strategy to, to roll that out and to harness it. But yeah, people look at that and say, hey, are they posting? Are they relevant? Are they still in business?
Yeah.
And they're going to look at your social media for sure. And then, of course, recommendations as well.
Yeah, absolutely. But I feel like Instagram I don't know about other law firms, but for immigration, we have been thinking about it for a long time. And I have to say, it's like my final frontier. You can't exactly post. You can't exactly post a picture of someone with their green card or their passport, right? Because that's very sensitive. And then not a lot of people want others to know necessarily that they are an immigrant to this country. There are people who you would never tell, that they don't have documents. So Instagram is definitely a little bit of a pickle for us. We're figuring it out. We haven't even started. That's going to be a whole project, hopefully.
Yeah. Well, again, I think, you kind of have to have a strategy for each platform and figure out what kind of content can you put up and who you're trying to get in front of and how do you get in front of them. But, every platform has this, it can work. It's just a matter of figuring out a strategy that's going to work for your business. So, yeah.
That sounds good. I always tell my clients that in order to get a job done right, you need to go to somebody who actually does it for a living, somebody who's a master of their trade. So I learned myself pretty quickly that a lot of these things businesses need help with, because you cannot be doing a good legal job and then handle all of your marketing strategy by yourself, because you're not going to do a good job at either one. So it is very important to partner up with somebody who knows marketing as well as, hopefully your trade. And then the two can have a very symbiotic relationship that benefits both of you,
Absolutely. I mean, the clients that we work with, it's a mutual relationship. If we're working with a law firm, we don't understand the law and their practice as much as they do. We never will. So there's definitely a collaboration that's got to happen, where you bring the marketing and strategy, but it has to align with the business goals and, the type of clients that they're working with and then where the business is going too. But no one's going to know that like you. So it definitely requires, both parties to work closely together to really make it work well. So, and sometimes I'll tell, sometimes we'll have maybe a prospect, a law firm that maybe is smaller, but, having one of the partners doing the website themselves. And we see this a lot actually. Say, well, what do you bill per hour? And then they'll say, 200,000 or trying to get to 300,000 or $300 an hour. I'm sorry, 200 or $300 an hour. And so, they're managing and building a website and spending 5-10 hours a month on that. So, at some point it just doesn't make sense.
No, it really doesn't. It really doesn't.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. No. And I think website is your biggest investment as a business nowadays. Like you can't do it yourself, because you're not going to do a great job unless you also have some sort of degree in digital website development. That is not a good idea for sure.
Yeah, it's come a long way. So when I first started my business, I did websites back a long time ago. It was just me, and I'd build websites, and that was it. And eventually had to learn different ways to build websites, and they got sophisticated, and now they're more like software. And then I had to hire people and build into all this other stuff, and SEO became important, and ranking on Google, and there's so much complexity to it now. Now there's some very easy tools out there, And I do encourage if you just started a firm today on your own, I would say, hey, try to get something together. If you can build a site yourself, that's fine. That'll get you to the next step. But any of the firms that have a handful of employees or partners, it starts to get, where you need to have it done properly, because it can have an impact on your SEO. It can make your ads. You said Google ads. It can make the ads cost more. It can affect everything, the user experience, load times, if it's mobile friendly or not. So there's a ton of things that it can cost you a ton of money and stunt, your growth of your firm can be hindered by it. So you're preaching to the choir over here.
Yeah, I bet.
Well, thanks so much for sharing what you have to share. I'm very excited for what you're doing, and compliment you on what you're already doing. I'd love to check out your live show. Other than your website, what's a best way for anyone listening to connect with you or check out the live?
Right. So I do a live show on Facebook Live Thursdays at 10 a.m. Usually lasts for about 30 minutes. Other than that, we're everywhere. We have Twitter, we have LinkedIn. You can give us a call. You can email us. We're pretty much always available, always on the phone, and we welcome any questions, any collaborations, anything, or just if you just want to say hi, always welcome.
Oh, I love it. Well, I'm going to try to check that out. So I'm following you on Facebook. I get the notifications for the lives you're going to do. Also, for anyone tuning in, more episodes like this on arraylaw.com. And this episode will be available on LinkedIn and YouTube. And we'll have Natalia's episode up on the podcast as well here soon too. So please check her out. Please reach out to her, connect with her, check out her show. And any managing partners also tuning in, you have any referrals, if it's immigration law is not your cup of tea, I'm sure Natalia would appreciate you reaching out. So
thank you, Kevin, for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, thank you so much, and all the best, and we'll talk to you soon, everyone. Till next time, have a good day.